Hi, I'm Josh, and welcome to another video where I read one of my favorite booktubers' favorite books. In this video, I'm going to be focusing on Jourdan from Left on Read. I found Jourdan's channel a little less than a year ago, and I immediately was hooked. She primarily just posts reviews of books, and they are really insightful and thought-provoking, on top of the fact that she just reads really fascinating books. And I quickly realized that she has a bunch of books that I wanted to read. And in fact, since then, I've read a lot of her books already, even before this idea for this video came up. But I felt, all the books that I've read at her recommendation, I really liked. I figured she'd be a great person to do a video of, to say, first off, thank you for such amazing recommendations and such amazing content, but also just to read more of her favorite books. So I decided the way I want to focus on this is to look at her top 10 books of 2019 and 2018. I think she goes into her top 20 or top 15 of both years, but there was too many books. And there are enough really good ones in the top 10s for me to choose from without having to delve down there, even though there are books in her top 15 or 20 that I definitely want to read too. Okay, first, so The Poet X is one that I haven't read that I really do want to read. So that actually is a perfect fit for this reading vlog. So that's going to stay in this list. Next up is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. And this one is one I've actually already read, so I'm not going to be reading it. I enjoyed this one, and I read this before I actually found Jourdan's page. It was just because it was popular that I read it. I enjoyed the experience, but I don't think it's a very good book. I think the narration is phenomenal, and honestly, I'm tempted to continue the series for that alone, because it really was quite the experience. It's like Harry Potter level joy in the amount of just fantasticalness that's going on mixed with such amazing narration. Which is rare for me to feel that much joy, if that makes sense, even if the story itself just wasn't for me. If Beale Street Could Talk by James Baldwin, this one is one that I want to read, and the only reason I'm not reading it is because I actually just recently bought a Library of America collection of his earliest works, and before I invest in reading or buying his later works, I want to finish that collection, so I'm just going to not do it this time. Sing Unburied Sing by Jasmine Ward, that one is one that I've been wanting to read, and so I am going to be reading that. What It Means When a Man Falls from the Sky. This one is one that just doesn't seem appealing to me. I don't remember why. It's just something I'm going to look over because there are plenty of other books that I could read. Barracoon, The Story of the Last Black Cargo, another one that is really intriguing to me, one that I really want to read. And so one that I'm going to be adding onto this list. She Would Be King, this is another one that I want to read. That's a maybe. And then We're Going to Need More Wine is one that doesn't really sound very appealing to me, but I don't actually know much about it. And then Becoming is one that I really want to read. Now those last four, though, I am going to tentatively gray out because, surprise, I already know what the 2019 list is, and there are others that are higher in the list that I want to read instead. So 2019, North Other Sons was actually, I think, one of the first books that I read at Jourdan's recommendation, and I absolutely loved that book. It was one of the most educational books I've ever read, and I couldn't believe that I had not learned about the Black migration during the Jim Crow era before this. It's something I want to read again, but not for this vlog. I want to read something new. Friday Black, and this one is one that actually sounds really intriguing, one that I completely want to read, especially since it's a number 2 for 2019. This is a series of short stories that are science fiction, dystopia, horror with commentary on race. So these are some that I just am really excited to be getting to. And then Men Re-Reaped by Jasmine Ward. This one is one that I've actually already read, another one that I read at her recommendation, Jourdan's recommendation, back in February. I really enjoyed this one. I mean, enjoyment. I'm not good at explaining how I feel, but I thought it was a fantastic book that I got a lot out of. And the writing was easy to get lost in, even if the topic itself was not at all joyful. Everything inside. This one I'm not sure about, just because the topic, this synopsis, did not seem very appealing to me. I don't remember what the synopsis was anymore, but so I was going to just disregard it because there are plenty of others on here that I kind of want to read anyways. Opposite of Always, again, unappealing. The Nickel Boys. That one I really want to read, but I haven't read his other book, The Underground Railroad, yet. Yeah, and I kind of want to read that before I buy this one. There's The AI Who Loved Me, another one that seems unappealing. Just Mercy is one that I definitely want to read. And The Stars and the Blackness Between Them, another one that I want to read. Then Heavy is one that I've already read, another one that I read at Jourdan's recommendation. But all those last 5 or 6 actually, or 7, I guess, I'm not going to be reading them because I've decided I'm going to go with the other ones instead, which is to say, I'm going to be reading The Poet X, Sing Unburied Sing, Barracoon, and Friday Black. These are 4 books, which is enough for one vlog, I think. Obviously, there were others that I could return to this and do another vlog for Jourdan. Maybe we will see. But for now, these are the ones I'm settling on. And with that, we can move forward with the actual vlog. I'm filming this after the vlog is over, but who knows what's going to happen? I do, but you should find out. Okay, it's Sunday, nearly 8 p.m. I am ready to get this started. Obviously, 4 books that we've talked about, and my goal is to get this done by Friday. I want to have the weekend for you to do some extra reading before the Buzzword Readathon starts. Is that correct? No, that's 2 weeks away. Either case, I'd like to finish this sooner rather than later. Of course, I don't want to rush through it too much, but they're all fairly short. Even the longest ones, they are quicker than they look. So, barring any difficulties, I think we're gonna have a good time. Right now, it is Labor Day weekend. I do have some work I want to do tomorrow, but I'll be happy spending most of my time reading. I am in quarantine right now because I had to leave the country. Luckily, it ends on Wednesday, which means I'll get to go for a bike ride, and you'll get to see me go for a bike ride. But these first couple days may be a little boring, but once we're done, we can enjoy the freedom of the outside world. But first, let's figure out what I'm going to read. So, as always, I like to do this with a quantum number generator. We can call this 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so on my page, I'm going to go to quantum number generator that I have. Fun stuff. Dice throw. We have a 1 number that we want to get first because I don't want to know what's going to come. I want to do it 1 book at a time. It's more fun that way. 1 set of numbers, numbers 1, 2, 4. So let's see what we get here. 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. The Poet X is the first one, which I think is a good start. I don't think this is going to be too challenging, and I think it'll be a fairly enjoyable read, and it's also quick. 3 hours of audiobook, not even adjusting the speed. Tonight, I am going to be playing Werewolf on Zoom. I normally would be at Dragon Con in Atlanta during Labor Day, but obviously COVID canceled that. Okay, it is now Monday, 7 p.m. I stayed up until like 2 a.m. last night playing. I got up, played more game, and then I showered, shaved a bit, and now I'm gonna do some cleaning and actually do some more reading. I've only just started the Poet X. It's too early to really say much about it. I like the style. I don't read much poetry, so it's hard for me to assess the quality here. It does sort of read like very short fiction, personally, but that's my impression so far. It's Tuesday now, mid-afternoon. I am a third of the way through the Poet X. It's taken me a few days, but quite frankly, I knew this might happen when I decided to start this vlog during a Labor Day weekend because I knew I'd probably get distracted by virtual Dragon Con, and that's okay. We have the entire week to read this. So far, I've listened to a bit more and I'm really enjoying it. I'm pretty sure it's a consistent narrative. I'm either really confused or I'm pretty sure I'm figuring out what's going on. I'm really liking it. I like how she's questioning religion. I love it when I see people questioning their religion. I can relate to that. It's a really interesting way of telling a story and not that bad, not that hard to understand. Other than that, I have my chocolate smoothie here. I haven't eaten yet and it's like 12:30. I'm saving that. Trying to pace myself when I'm eating. This isn't really relevant to the vlog. I always struggle with how much I eat. I'm trying to condition myself to be okay with being hungry sometimes. Which I don't know if that sounds absurd to some people, and maybe you're used to that, but I never let myself get hungry. I just condition myself to be okay with that feeling if I really want to not keep overeating. Today is Tuesday. I'm excited because tomorrow I can finally go outside. I don't know what I'm gonna do, I just know it's gonna be outside. I'm probably gonna wake up, go for a bike ride. It's gonna be so much fun. I'm so excited. I've been trapped here for 2 weeks now. I'm not sick, at least I don't think so. I was tested negative and no symptoms, but I do have to get to work. I have a meeting tomorrow morning at 10:30. So anything I do will have to be early or late in the evening. For now, I need to do work today, but I'll listen more this evening. I'm pretty confident I'm gonna get through the Poet X today. Until then, I'll see ya. I'm gonna listen to the rest of the audiobook tonight while I clean and do some cooking. I am out of the last thing that I made, so I need to make something for tomorrow. But yeah, let's have at it, eh? So it's 9 p.m. I finished The Poet X. I think it's going to be a solid 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I think it's one of the most unique types of storytelling I've ever read. The story itself, I'm very much connected to, even though I'm not a young or Latin girl. I guess it's trying to grow up, particularly trying to understand the religion, your real place in it. And all in all, I really enjoyed this. I don't know if it's still my cup of tea, this sort of YA contemporary. I'm glad I read it. I thought it was a really interesting perspective. I felt very strongly at times in this book, not because I disliked how it was being written, but just that I was very mad at what the character had to go through. I was really hating her mother at points. And in the end, though, I really don't blame her mother, because ultimately I blame religion for shaping her mother like that. And honestly, what I really want to talk about here is the role religion plays in her life, because I am not a fan of religion, or I mean like any type of religion. I don't just mean it's organized religion. I think it's toxic, but I'm going to refrain from talking about that because that's not really the point of this vlog. Religion is a big part of this, and critiquing religion, or at least how it's used, is a big part of it. Now, I would say the problem is much more than just the mother, and much more ingrained in what the mother was taught from the religion. But all in all, it was a very touching story, and it was a really interesting format. I really liked it. And I'm really glad I read it. I'm really glad I chose to buy it for this vlog. The next one, we have these 3 to choose from. All very short, although I know I don't want to rush them too quickly. Make sure I'm sufficiently taking in the content. Let's go ahead and jump over to the quantum number generator. We're going to have 1, 2, 3 again. So we go to the website. Then we plug in 1 book, 1 list, out of 1 to 3, and then we run. And we have 2. 1, 2, therefore, Friday Black it is, by Nana Kwame Adejimboyena. Yes, so that's what I'll be reading next. These are short stories. I sometimes struggle with short stories because I'm really good with longer form, just because there's more time for me to catch up. Like, it's okay for me not to catch every detail right away. While with short stories, if I don't catch what's going on right away, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be missing like half the story or more. So I'm hoping I can connect to this, that it's not too difficult for me to read, but I'm excited to be starting it. I'm going to keep cleaning and prepare my bike to make sure it's ready to go tomorrow morning before my meeting. So I am a third of the way through this, and I am really liking it. It is very well done. It is unnerving, disturbing, and just so perfect in so many ways. I think what I want to do, though, is go ahead and decide which of the next 2 I'm going to read, just because since it's short stories, I don't want to rush through them all from one to the next. I want to be able to stop and let it sit and read something else. The problem with short story collections is that when I read one to the next, it's hard for it to make a lasting imprint. I'm going to go ahead and make that decision. So this is going to be 1, this is going to be 2. I honestly don't know which one it is because I forgot to create the recording before this. So I'm just going to use this app that I have called the Universal Splitter. It's like flipping a coin. You just put in the options you want, like A and B. One is going to be Jasmine Ward, the other one Jourdan Neil Hurston. And then it'll pull a measurement from a quantum lab. And the result we get, of course, will be whatever measurement we get. In this case, it's going to be Hurston. I forgot that I have an app for binary choices, and I'm going with Barracoon, The Story of the Last Slave by Jourdan Neil Hurston. I've read Jourdan Neil Hurston's The Eyes Are Watching God before. I have not read anything else. I do want to reread The Eyes Are Watching God, and I think it's something that bears returning to. But in the meantime, I'm looking forward to this. I think it's going to be very educational. But this is making good progress. I told you things were going to speed along once I got through Dragon Con. But tomorrow morning, we're going to go outside for freedom. But I'll catch you tomorrow. So I barely started this, and I'm already wondering if the audiobook is lacking a lot, because this is a pretty long book, and while there are empty spaces, I feel like there should be more than 4 hours of audiobook. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm just going to follow along with the audiobook and keep checking with the book, which is going to slow down my process, which is fine. But I can already tell there are some things that aren't recorded, like the foreword by Alice Walker, which is very brief, and a few other quotes that are introduction here. So I'm just going to try and keep up with it that way. That's that. to get ready for school or for a lab meeting. But I got my bike ride in. I almost didn't want to go. I told myself at least just 20 minutes there and back. 40 minutes, 20 minutes each way. I did listen to, or begin to listen to Paracoon. I'm enjoying it. I mostly just got through the editor's introduction. There is an editor's note that wasn't on audio, so I'll probably read that. Now, I watched a review by Didi at Brown Girl Reading last night, and she had some harsh criticism for the editor and their choice to finish this off with 20 pages of commentary on how it was plagiarized. And Didi thought it was a slap in the face. I highly recommend you check out her video, which I'll tag above, for more on that. So I'm hesitant to whether or not it's really worth digging in deeper to the editor's notes. If I'm not rushed for time, which I don't think I will be, I'll probably still do it because I want to know. I'll probably just use the ebook and have it narrated to me that way. But so far, it's interesting. It is a very rich in dialect and detail. I'm intentionally reading this at a slower rate, 1.7, which is, I rarely ever listen to that anymore. So I'm trying to take my time with this. And I haven't read any more Friday Black, but I still, obviously my opinion hasn't changed. I do want to point out that the audiobook narrators for both of these are fantastic. I'm pretty sure the guy who narrates this was one of the narrators in The Start at Sea. And The Start at Sea, the narration and the tone was really the only good thing going for it. And so the guy narrating this is fantastic. And then for this, it's Robin Miles. And obviously Robin Miles is one of the best out there. That's where I'm at right now. I'm gonna make a smoothie and take a shower because I have to meet an hour. So later. So I'm about to start at work. I just finished my lab meeting, finally finished my smoothie. I had the time wrong for my meeting for some reason, and I had to stop making my smoothie halfway through it. So it's kind of warm, or at least not as icy as I'd like it, so I put some ice in it. I did make a bit more than I normally would, or intended to, but that's okay. Would you believe it's still less than 500 calories? It's delicious still. Yes, it is. Very delicious. It's the berry. You can't go wrong with berry. Berry makes pretty much anything. As long as the berry is the dominant flavor, mix a little banana to sweeten it, it's delicious. Okay, so it's 4 p.m. I haven't updated you just because I've been doing work-ish, and I've been busy. But I have made some progress on my audiobooks. I was up late last night reading both, but mostly this one. I'm almost done with this. And I have not as much left on this as I do actually on Friday Black. And I'm really enjoying both of them. Probably Friday Black more. I have a feeling Friday Black is going to be my favorite just because it's a lot of what I like, in that it's a mix of science fiction and horror. And it's also a really fascinating conversation about race intermixed in there. It's really just the type of writing and tone that I really like, as well as just the genre, right? It's all just the perfect blend of what I love. And it's probably going to be a favorite. I don't know if it's going to be a 5-star. I feel weird saying a favorite book of the year for a book that's not 5-star. But then again, it's short stories, and they hit different, right, than a novel. 5-star book that's a novel isn't necessarily as good as like a 4 or 4.5 star short stories collection. Does that mean that a 5-star novel shouldn't be 5-star? I don't know, but one of the many things going on in my head. But I feel like I'm going to finish both of these today, and I should be able to make it to the last book here, Sing on Bird Sing by Jasmine Ward. I need to go to school to empty out my office because apparently they're going to be giving it away for people who might need it. Although who'd want to work in an office is beyond me. And an enclosed space with other people, like, ooh, no thank you. I'm always happy to give mine away. I mean, I barely used it before the pandemic because I have a lab at school. And of course I could always work from home now. But other than that, I'm gonna do my thing. I haven't gone for a bike ride this morning because I was up so late cooking food, but I need to do that to get to my office. And honestly, if I do it now, I could make it to a bike shop. Recently, my bike rack that can hold bags, it broke, so I need a new one. I really like those because I hate getting my back sweaty wearing bags. But overall, everything's going well. It feels like a kind of a dull reading vlog just because I'm not doing much. I am really enjoying this. Most of it seems to be in the audiobook, and I have a feeling, given that it's only 45 minutes left, that a lot of the afterword isn't going to be, and I'm going to try and read it, but honestly, I'm not going to spend more time than today reading that book. So that's my update for now. See you later. here in my office, cleaning it out. As you can see, there are other desks. I don't know if anybody's ever actually here. I finished Barracoon. Didn't love it. I particularly didn't love how the ending stories were sort of just tacked on to the main narrative. It didn't seem to fit, but I'll give more complete thoughts when I get home. Almost done with Friday Black though. Still enjoying it. So I'm home. I finished both books. Friday Black, I'm giving 4 out of 5 stars, which feels so wrong, and maybe I'll bump it up by the time this video is over, but for now, based off what I've given in each individual story, I'm giving it 4 stars. Most of these stories I really like. There might be 2 or 3 that I thought were just okay, and there were several that I absolutely loved. The ones that I didn't give full 5 stars to, a lot of the time it was like I loved the concept and I feel like he could have pushed it a bit further. But all in all, it was a phenomenal book. I highly recommend it to anyone who's into sci-fi, horror, and especially where that melds in with race. Because a lot of these stories, I must say, will probably be very triggering for Black readers. It's really quite dark and all too real, but it was so well told and really unnerving. I highly recommend it. I'm so glad I read this. Let's also talk about the fact that this cover is my favorite cover of all the books that I'm reading. It's gorgeous. I'm pretty sure it's The Lion. There were several that had to do with Black Friday, hence Friday Black, but it was really interesting. Like the key story here, Friday Black, I thought was really cool, but I thought it was really inventive and a really unique way to look at the story, or rather to look at this scenario and this problem. And then there were other scenarios that just were so twisted, and I really liked it in all the right ways. Now Barracoon, wait, did I give this a rating? I know I'm thinking 3.5 star, but I'm not quite done. I want to read the editor's note that's to the front, and I want to read the afterword at the back. And there's also, at the very end, an essay by Alice Walker just about Zora Neale Hurston in general, which she wrote back in 1970s. And right now I am going to get the ebook, and I'm going to send it to my Kindle, and then while I do my laundry, I'm just going to have it doing text-to-speech. If I try reading it, it's going to take me hours. It sounds ridiculous, but that's why I listen to audiobooks. And then I'll start this. I'm not sure how long it's going to take. I'm hoping to finish this tomorrow. I'd really like to have my weekend free to start other books. A few extra notes. I mentioned the audiobook narrator for this was the same person from A Starless Sea, and that is not the case. Those are 2 different people. They have the same deep, throaty voice, and that's what I was thinking about, and I do love that sort of, this really immersive, it's perfect kind of storyteller sound, but it's still very good. And for this, I have said this repeatedly in so many videos now, sing unburied sing, and it's sing unburied sing. I do not know why. Well, I have some suspicions why, but I don't know why I keep reading this as unburied. Like, what is unburied? I don't know. I just assumed it was going to be explained in the book. At least unburied. Is that a word? I'm definitely sure unburied isn't. In any case, now that's clarified, let's move forward. I was reading, or rather listening to the text-to-speech of the afterword by the author, but I decided to stop. It's just that I've definitely heard this in the audiobook. The audiobook started with the introduction, and I'm not sure if the audiobook detached on there somewhere the afterword in the introduction, or if the introduction is just a copy of the afterword. I went to the audiobook, and I went to the introduction, went to the end of the introduction rather, and I made sure it matched with the end of the book, and then flowed directly into Barracoon, and it does. So I don't understand how the audiobook works. All I know is I've heard the shit that's being talked about right now. So I'm not going to bother, especially since the critiques I've heard about her just basically throwing shade at Zora Neale Hurston. So I stand by 3.5 stars. Overall, it's an interesting book. The narrative it's a fascinating perspective, especially with it being basically us hearing or reading Kusula's personal account. Zora Neale Hurston obviously does an amazing job recounting what he said and basically making it sound as if it's just a conversation we're having with him. And for the most of it, I think it worked really well. It's the ending where they said I felt sort of disconcerted. Then latch on the success editor notes, and I felt like it, I don't know, but still something that is worth reading, and I highly recommend. I have a habit of saying that for every single book that I like. It's educational, and there are parts of it that I really enjoyed reading. It's not an easy read academically or personally. There's a lot of difficult accounts that he points out. I was surprised to learn how his story, that he had a very difficult life even after being a slave, but it made it all the more powerful of a story. Other than that, I'm gonna need to read Sing Unburied Sing. I mean, technically I did start it, but like just 2 minutes worth. So No commentary just yet. I haven't really been in the mood to read, so I haven't really done anything today for schoolwork either. I mean, I did a little bit, but it's almost 6 p.m. I kind of want to go for a bike ride, but I also just want to sit around and do nothing. But I also need to go for a bike ride to exercise and to read my book, because I need to get this started if I want to at least finish it tomorrow. So let's do something fun, like fold laundry. Here we are, another day of me not reading. Apologies. So I didn't read hardly any last night. I basically have the entire book left, maybe 10% into it. Just wasn't feeling it, and I don't think it's the book's fault. I don't think it was in a mindset. I took a nap, and then I watched TV. I thought, I'm gonna clean after TV. And I didn't do that because I just wasn't in the mood. And honestly, I know how it is when I try and listen to an audiobook when I'm not in the mood. As much as I try and focus, I will gloss over it. And by the middle or the end of it, I realize what the fuck happened. I have no idea what's going on. So I decided to stop and just let myself extend this and spend today reading the book, because I really want to take in the content. I'm not going to start over about 30 minutes into it, but I'm going to keep listening. I'm still not quite sure what the book's going to be about and what it's focusing on. So hopefully I can figure that out today. But in the meantime, I'm going to clean. Okay, I'm halfway through Sing Unburied Sing by Jasmine Ward. I'm in a better place now in regards to connecting to the story. I was really trying to follow along with what's going on, and honestly, I was getting confused, trying to understand the perspectives that we're in and how they relate to one another. So I ended up biting the bullet and just using Google to help me figure out the characters we're dealing with. Don't tell my English lit teacher. I'm glad I did, because I immediately was able to realize, okay, this is who you're talking to. That's what you mean here. And I'm catching details that I was just completely missing before. So for the second half, I'm feeling a lot better about where I'm at. I think I'm really gonna like this. I'm enjoying what I've been able to get so far. I did end up looking at the synopsis of what we've been going through to figure out what exactly was going on, because I still wasn't quite sure. And I get much better context now and how it all connects. The problem is if I don't understand who's who, I get these individual moments. If I can't connect them, they just float away. It's like, so it was very helpful. Is that cheating? I mean, you can't cheat when it's just reading, but I don't know, I feel bad that I had to do that, but I'm definitely enjoying it more now. I don't know if it was just the writing and the complicated characters, or it was just me. I definitely wasn't in a good headspace when I first started this book, so I've been taking my time. I think I'm gonna go for a bike ride to help finish off the majority of this book. 2 hours left, so I'm only halfway, but the 2 hours now, I think I'm gonna go pretty quick, now that I feel like I've got my groove of what's going on. And then we can close out this vlog, and I can get it up hopefully this weekend. This book's definitely been more difficult than I thought it was gonna be. I read somewhere that Jasmine Ward has been referred to as like a modern day Toni Morrison, also mixed with William Faulkner and others, and I can get that because William Faulkner and Toni Morrison are two people I've just really struggled to read. I remember I read William Faulkner in high school, and God, I hated it, but I also loved it. It was very satisfying when I realized what was going on. So there is something satisfying about this, even though it is challenging. I have the added benefit of not being graded for cheating, so that's nice. But I know I've been inside a lot, so let's go outside to finish this off. Okay, so I finished Sing Unburied Sing by Jasmine Ward. I enjoyed this, but I still struggled throughout it. It's just the thing I have with literary fiction, where sometimes in trying to follow along, it gets a little dull. So overall, I didn't love it, but I did really like it. It's a very powerful story, and the writing was compelling. I suppose I can say. I'm not a literary critic here, but I'd give this 4 stars, I think, on the low end of 4 stars. But if we were to recap everything that I've read, I think I would say first Friday Black, which originally I gave 4 stars, but I think I'm going to go with 4.5 because I've given most of these 4 stars, and this was my favorite. Even though on average my rating rounds to a 4, I still think overall, because of the tone and how much I love it, even if this, I still think this deserves 4.5. I absolutely loved this collection. Next up was The Poet X. I think I gave this 4 stars. I enjoyed the narrative. I enjoyed the format. I loved how it just broke the mold and how well it still held together as a consecutive story. All in all, YA, contemporary, and poetry as well isn't my forte, but I still enjoyed it. Next, I'm going to give this also 4 stars on the low end, like I said. And then lastly, 3.5 for Barracoon. This vlog lasted longer than I intended it to, but I feel like it was very rewarding. I kind of wish that I saved Friday Black for last, just because it's easy to get burnt out. And in the end, I enjoyed this vlog. It's disappointing because of all the books that I've read at the recommendation of Jourdan from Left Unread, these are probably on the lower end, not Friday Black. So Sing Unburied Sing and Barracoon. I enjoyed them both. I don't regret reading them, but I wouldn't put them above some of the others that I talked about reading. But Friday Black, I'm very glad I read. I hope you enjoyed this reading vlog. I enjoyed it, and until next time, you all have a fantastic day and stay safe.